Primetime told you last night that deranged leftists are vandalizing Teslas and firebombing dealerships across the country. Well, we just found out another dealership in Oregon was just shot up. Watch.
Roughly 40 protesters gathered here at the Southwest Cascade Avenue Tigard Tesla dealership for a protest. They're calling it the Rally to Restore Democracy. They were protesting against President Donald Trump, Elon Musk, the Doge cuts, and also the tariffs at the border. This protest is only hours after police report that this Tesla dealership was hit by multiple gunshot rounds overnight. Investigators believe at least 7 shots were fired, damaging 3 cars and shattering windows. 1 bullet went through an office wall and into a computer monitor. This incident comes after a string of vandalism attempts for Teslas and Tesla dealerships across the nation.
Primetime's also obtained new photos of the man who firebombed the Tesla dealership in Salem, Oregon, causing $500,000 worth of damage. Surveillance photos show him walking towards the Tesla dealership in a black burqa before chucking Molotov cocktails at the building. Red Tesla burst into flames. There you go. Then the suspect hurled a rock at the dealership window and shattered it. That's when more random projectiles were thrown, damaging other cars in the area. When investigators arrived on the scene, they found more Molotovs in the parking lot. Political unrest from the radical left's brewing. After Trump got shot, the left was told to tone down the rhetoric, or the violence would get worse. Some listened. They stopped calling Trump Hitler and started using names of other dictators.
I've watched this guy use television like nobody's ever done. It is Mussolini. It's about believing the leader in what he says verbatim. And that's what Trump does on television. And he's using us to do it, using the medium.
The media doesn't think he's a fascist. They say he's a revolutionary.
This country is being turned upside down, and Donald Trump is the revolutionary who's going to incite revolution if he doesn't stop this crap.
So what are Democrats going to do? Well, The View says they need to stop Trump by any means necessary, even if it means sacrificing their lives.
The Democrats are not meeting the moment. The baby boomers, the civil rights generation, they knew what they had to do. They were willing to fight and die for their rights. This generation of Congress, they are not meeting the moment. This is an existential crisis.
Florida Congresswoman Paulina Luna joins us now. Congresswoman, how much attention is Washington paying this rise in violence against Musk?
I will say that they are largely responsible. Jesse, I sit on House Oversight, and the rhetoric that we're hearing, not just when the cameras are on, but even off, I will tell you that I've heard conversations on the House floor where people have said that they know that Elon Musk hitting him, attacking him is actually good for their polling numbers. And so they're going to continue to do it. Now, as you know, Elon Musk just went on Joe Rogan the other day, has talked about how he has an increase in threat to his life. And so I would say that this scary rhetoric that we're hearing is also the same rhetoric that we heard about President Trump leading up into the 2024 election cycle. And remember, it's these crazy leftists that are actually partaking in these violent attacks. And so it's very concerning. Attacks on politicians is up at the highest time it's ever been in the last decade.
We're hearing about Ryan Ruth, but not much. It just seems like very mysterious. Nothing on the Butler guy, nothing much on Ruth, except that he had all these phones and he came back from Ukraine radicalized. Are we expecting to hear more at some point?
Unless President Trump releases that report, which I am hearing he's going to, I don't think that the mainstream media will give it the coverage that it deserves. And they won't, because they know that all of these assassins would-be assassins that tried to assassinate President Trump were radicalized leftists. That's not just a made-up talking point from Republicans. That's a fact. We know the guy that was in court today actually had postings. He actually went to Ukraine. I mean, he was as radicalized as they get and literally thought that President Trump was going to be the end of Ukraine. Meanwhile, President Trump is actively working to establish peace in Ukraine, and probably the only person in the world that could have done that. Yeah. And so what I will tell you is what I'm finding on our end is that unless we push back heavily on this, it's just going to continue, and it's unacceptable.
What's going on with the Epstein files? A couple weeks ago, that was kind of weird. What are you hearing?
You know, I feel the same way that you do, Jesse, and I'm very frustrated, just like many Americans are. I think that those lists need to be released to the American people, and that's really up to the decision of Attorney General Pam Bondi. I can tell you that as a member of Congress, we have not really gotten much communication from the Department of Justice, but we are going to be continuing to put pressure because when the American people elected President Trump, they demanded transparency, and frankly, it's disturbing that more people aren't in jail for the crimes that were committed for trafficking people. And that's exactly what Jeffrey Epstein did. So I hope that she releases those files in entirety. And I frankly hope that she brings charges because what happened should have never been acceptable and people belong in jail.
I agree. And the guy who opposed or allegedly was holding those files back from her in the FBI office here in Manhattan has been fired. So we expect to see those soon.
He should
Paulina
go to
Luna,
jail.
thank you so much. We really appreciate it.